Hey, I've got a few tips for you about how you can make your posts a little richer. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a tutorial on OWL, a couple things that you may not know exist in the interface. So the first thing is when you log in, you'll notice that you've got your course that you normally go in, but you also have this area over here called My Workspace. And that is a spot where you may not realize it, but you can actually collect and save files. Those of you that want to put graphics or photographs or videos of yourself into the course, this is probably the easiest way to collect it. You upload it into OWL, into your workspace, and then you can reference it in a post. So I've clicked on Resources within your workspace, and then over here you can add to this workspace that you have. If you wanted to, you could create folders for documents or folders for images and that type of thing. I'm not going to do a whole lot of stuff here over the next month, so I'm just going to keep this as my workspace, and I'm going to upload a file. Let's say I want to upload a graphic. The system's asking me about copyright status for a file, and I'm going to say there's a picture here that I own the copyright to. So let me go over here to photographs. Let me just grab a quick image. I'm just going to grab a quick image here. This is a photo of my volleyball team from last year, I think, maybe a year or two ago. Let's say we want to put that file in. I can drag it and drop it into my resource folder. So it's in resources. This is my workspace. It's just a folder I have called resources. I put an image in there. I've checked off I own the copyright of it, and I'll hit continue. Beside any image, you can click Edit Details, then click the radio button to make sure the file is publicly viewable. Now let's say I want to try and reference that document. I want to include some kind of graphic in a text or a post that I make. When I go back to my course and I go to the forums, I'm going to go to let's go to introductions for a second. I'm just going to go to myself. Here's a little bit of my introduction, but let's say I want to add a comment. I'm going to add to this conversation, but include a graphic. So I'm going to include here a reply to myself. And in the body of the text here, I'm going to click this icon over here, which is a graphic or an image. I click that, and now I can browse on the server to find this image that I've already uploaded. It'll ask me to navigate. Now I have access to a bunch of courses that I've taught, but one of the things I'm looking for is my workspace, which is one of the things you will see. And in my workspace, I now see that image that I uploaded. Click OK with that. Now I can specify this is 2,000 pixels wide. I'm going to make it 1/10 of the size so that it'll show up. And once you change one of these, the other one will change automatically to give you good perspective. I'll say OK. And now when people visit this post, they'll see a picture of my volleyball team. This is an example. Now normally, if you take an image from somewhere else, you're going to want to credit and provide a hyperlink back to where that image was. There is one other way you can include links, and I'll give you that overview in just a second. But if I say post that, now when someone visits my page, they can see that there's a graphic there. So again, all you're doing is going to My Workspace and then clicking on the Resources tab, and then you can upload images or documents. Anything you want to link to, you can include there. The other way that you can include content, I've got websites online where I include images. So this is, well, you know what? This is an example of a house being built. This is where I'm going to be moving down the road in a month or so. So let's say I want to include this image. I can find any image and take a link to that image. So if I copy, I'm clicking on that, right-clicking or control-clicking on it, I can say copy the image address, the address of that web page, or I mean, it could be an image that you maybe search in Flickr, Flickr.com. Great source of Creative Commons images, and some of you will be learning about Creative Commons in a little bit. But you can also search your own images if you host them online anywhere, or in this case, I'm using Google Photos. This particular image is there. So I'm going to go back now that I've copied the link. I've copied the URL, Universal Resource Locator. I've copied that information, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to try and reply here with another picture. So there's the original one. Here is another way to post a picture. I click this image button again, but instead of browsing the server, I'm going to use this link button, and I'm going to paste the URL that I copied from before and say OK. And now that image is embedded in the content. Now, the trick about images that you grab online, it didn't give me the wherewithal to change the size of that. If you want to be a little tricky, you can go into the source code here, and you might be able to find some data in here that tells us how big this picture is. Let me see if there's anything in here. See at the very end of this where it says it's 1040 pixels high and 780 wide. Again, the simple way, I could cut that in half to change the size of it. So it's instead of 10. If I eliminate the 0, I make it 1/10 the size, but let's make it half the size. So this is going to be 520 by 390. And I'm going to hit the source code button again and come back. And now my picture is kind of a reasonable size. That's kind of an advanced move. You may not know it, but that source code button allows you to paste code into your page. Sometimes you get an error with it, but with something like a graphic, it's an easy thing to do. So if I hit post that, it's a photo of my house being built that you could see. Now, sometimes, if you're really lucky and your operating system cooperates, whether it's Mac or PC, if you find the right browser, I've had some success with Safari, though Chrome and Opera haven't worked so well for me. Occasionally, I'll open up Safari, and in replying to a post, let's say I want to grab an image. I'm going to go to just google.com and just do a really quick search here for a photo of a phone. And if you do sort of a Control C or Command copy, you can copy an image occasionally. Let me see. Copy image. And then in my reply, I can, won't let me do it. Oh, Control V, you can paste an image. It does not work with all browsers. It works with some browsers some of the time. Control C to copy something, Control V to paste it. Again, in this case, I'd want to give credit to the person whose photo I'm using by linking back to it, hopefully getting, ideally, you would have permission to post that image. It'd be a Creative Commons licensed image, for example. In this case, it's a commercial image by Apple, but Control Copy and Control V works. It doesn't work all the time, just sort of by fluke. It worked for me here. So you can play with that one as well. So those are 3 different ways you can try to include graphics in your posts. Give them a shot. Some take a little more tech savviness than others, but any which way, if you're successful and put it into your routine, your post can be a little bit more creative, a little more visual, a little more interesting and compelling. Give it a shot.